recording. Okay, so in our previous class, I think we did our basic functions like if and, correct? So we're gonna do our if or in today's class, all right? So let's see what is if or and how can you go about these different functions together. Okay. Coming to a situation where I have this list. So I have a list of people who are sorted under VIPs and under non-VIPs. Okay. So let's say that we have some VIPs and some non-VIPs. So here we have some VIPs and non-VIPs. Now in these cases, or in this list, which you can see, we have a small issue. In this, if I want to let few people in, I have to first check their criteria, whether they are under VIP list or they are under non-VIP list. And then only I should let them in. So if that is the case, then how can I know that that specific person, whoever I write in, that is a VIP? And if it's a VIP, let them in. And if this person is a non-VIP, then don't let them. So I want this to happen automatically based on the names. The should they be allowed to go in should be decided based on the names whichever we get. So I'm just going to give this a different color just so that you can see that this is a different cell. So whenever I type the name in here, automatically this name will get evaluated under this list and it's giving me the value. So how can we get this thing? So to do this, we will be using if or formula. So what is or formula? Let's first understand that. Or is a condition in which if any one condition is true, if any one condition is true, then Excel will return true. If any one condition is true. Now you can see that it's completely opposite of what we have learned in our previous class for our AND function. AND function, if any one value was false, everything was false. If any one value was true, it would not matter because both values in only the condition where both values are true, then only the condition will be true, or else everywhere it will be false. So here it's something different. Here, if any one value is true, that's enough. That's enough for it to go through. So how can we go about this? It's fairly simple. We're going to press equals and we're going to write if. And now instead of and, we're going to use or. Now we're going to say that, now this is a very simple formula to remember. You can see that. You see that logical test, it's asking. I will say that if this name is equal to this VIP, comma, if this name is equal to this VIP, or by writing comma, is this name equal to this VIP? And I'm going to do the same for all the list. Equals, for only VIPs, I'm selecting. Okay. And once I've selected these VIP list, I will close the bracket and I will tell them if this list is equal to any of these, then show them or show us that VIP, please let them go. Or please let them in. If not, then we will add a comma and then we will say not VIP, don't let them in. That's it. And then hit enter. This will be the condition. Not VIP, don't let them in. So let's say Matt. Again, not VIP, don't let them in. Salam. VIP, please let them in. Justin, don't let them in. Jacob, let them in. So like this, if you have specific based criteria, then you can use if or to do your work. Understood? It's a fairly simple way to do it. Now coming to the next topic, which is if error. Now, if error is usually used for those situations where you have any specific operations to be done, and you know for sure that under these circumstances, you may come across a position where some values will be having a division error, or it may have some error in it. If any cell have some error inside it, then you don't want to jeopardize your formula, but rather you want something else to happen in those situations. then you will be using if error. To give you a better perspective, I have an example in here in which I have first value being divided into the next. We all know by logical facts that if any bigger value is divided with a smaller value, you will be getting a less value on this, obviously. But if this value is divided with smaller, as the values are going smaller and smaller and smaller, the values will be increasing. You can see that. So you see 15 divided by 2 is 7.5, but 15 divided by 1 is 15. 15 divided by 0.8 will be 18. 0.6 will be 25. 0.3 will be 30. If I go for 0.004, it will be 3750. You see that it's increasing. Now, if I put this as 0, it will give me a very huge number, which will be infinite. It will be so huge. If I divide it with 0, it will be so huge that computer cannot comprehend. Because in nature or in universe, absolute 0 does not exist. 0 is just a hypothetical term. Mathematics, 0 is just a hypothetical term which a random Indian guy has brought up. So because of that reason, 0 does not truly exist, but 0 is a hypothetical term which is said. So 0, absolute 0 does not exist in universe. So if we put 0.007, 0.5 something, so it's going to be huge value. So 0.0 does not exist. So 0.0, it might be 0.00 something. Some value will be there in the end, some or the other value will be there. It won't be absolute 0. So in these conditions, it will give me a division error or an error which computer cannot comprehend. For these situations, I don't want this to show up like this. I want it to show that please don't divide with 0. Or maybe I just want this to be divided with 1 and show me the value. Something like that. I want some other mathematical operation to happen. So for those situations, I will simply do this function. We call this as if error. So equals if error. So I'm going to say that first if error, and we will tell that if this value is an error, okay, then show me value has error. Now this is just for your information. I'm going to change the formula later. Okay, so you can see that value has error. And then this value does not have error. That's why it's showing 7.5. This does not have error, 15. This does not have error, 18. Does not have error, does not have error. But this value has error. So if any value has error, it will show me this. Instead of this, if I tell if this is an error, then take this value, which is 15, let's say for example, and then multiply that with 0.01. Okay, if that is an error, then take that value and multiply it with 0.01. Now, what we'll do is it when you go down in here, it will not throw me in the error, but rather it will say absolute 0 does not exist. But what I can do is I can take 0.01. This is what it takes in. So in those situations where absolute 0 does not exist, you have some other values to give, then you can use if error functions to do something else, if not this, right? So that's something which you can do. Then we have auditing tools. What are auditing tools? Let's see. In auditing tools, whenever you are working with a complex sheet, let's say that you are having not one place formulas, you have formulas all across the sheet. I'll give an example. Let's say that I'm writing 90 in here, 81 in here, and I'm going to write some formula in here, which means it's a combination of these two. And I'm going to write one more formula in here, which will be a combination of these two. I'll be writing one more formula in here, which will be a combination of these two. Okay, so now if I change any value in here, everywhere else it's changing, right? Automatically changing. Why? Because this value is being the dependent on these values. So if I want to check, if I change any value, will it be affecting any other cells within the sheet? Then I will be using auditing tools. So all those auditing tools are sorted under your data tab. So if you go to data, you will be having data tools, and under your data tools, sorry, not in here, sorry, your formulas. So under your formulas, you have formula auditing, and under your auditing formula tools, you have trace precedence, trace dependence, remove arrows, check formula, and all these different things. So for this reason, what we will be doing is we will be selecting the files. We will be selecting the files, and you just need to select the cell. Actually, don't need to select files. Select the cell and then click on trace precedence. If you click on trace precedence, it will show you that this cell is not any dependence. That means this cell is not depending on any other cell. It's an independent cell. This cell may have dependence, but it does not have any precedence. Precedence means something which it relies on. So it doesn't rely on anything. It's an independent value. So now let's see this one. Is this an independent value or is it relying on some? If I click on trace precedence, it's an independent value. It's not depending on anything. Yes. Now let's go with this one. Now we know for sure that this is not independent value, because when you click on trace precedence, it will show me that this value is depending on these two values. Now, if I click on here and let's say trace precedence, it will show me that this value is depending on these two values. And if I click on here and click on trace precedence, it will show me that this is depending on these three values. And if you want to clear it, click on remove arrows, it will remove everything. Same thing, if I change this cell, now this is depending formula, right? Correct. But if I change this cell, what cells will it be affecting? I want to check. Then I can click on this and click trace dependence. So it will check if I change any of this, it will change this value and this value. If I change anything in here, what it will change? It will change this value and this value. If I change anything in here, what will it change? It will change this value. So it's showing dependence. That means if I change anything to this cell, these two values will be changed. If I change anything to this cell, these two values will be changed. If I change anything to this cell, then this value will be changed. So for doing these kind of, tracing what are dependents and precedents, you will be using these functions. These functions is more used for auditing purposes, in which you have a complex sheet. Before you do anything, you are afraid that this might change something in the sheet. So you click on this button, these two buttons, in order to check that you don't ruin any formula if they have given you a new sheet. So what happens usually is, let's say my developer is working on a sheet and he's giving it to me to work on the same sheet. Now, if I change something, the whole data might get corrupted. So I don't want to change any of the main core cells. If I want to change main core cells, I will check what specific values is this depending on. But this will not show for multiple pages. If this value is used as a 3D formula, it will not be shown. Only for same sheet, it will show. Yes. For 3D formulas, it will not be shown. 3D formulas, it will be completely, you have to be ambiguous. It will be like you will be in the oblivion to know what or where exactly this is. You won't be knowing it. So you shouldn't be using this for 3D formulas. It's only used for these kind of formulas, which is in the same sheet. That's about this. Now, once it's done, we have one more thing. We have show formula button. Show formula button will allow you to check what cells are having formulas in them quickly. By simply selecting show formulas, you see all cells are now converted into formulas. And if you click on this again, everything will go back to normal. So if you click on show formulas, your complete sheet will now only show formulas. It will not show text. So this is not a formula. This is a text only. Text, numbers, and this is a formula. This is a formula. Everywhere it's wherever formulas are there, it will reveal as a text. And when you click on show formulas again, it goes back. That's just an example of how you do it. Simple and easy. Right. Let's see. Okay, guys. So now let's go to our next topic. Yeah, so that's about this. Now let's come to the text functions. For the text functions, there will be understanding different kinds of text functions which we have in Excel and how we can use them to get things sorted. First, we have trim. Now these files are given to you all, so you can please practice them. If not, let me know. I can send you this file to your WhatsApp. So this is a trim function which we have. The first function for the text function, we have the first. We have trim, proper, upper, lower, len. Different functions are there. First, let's talk about trim. Trim function is used to remove unnecessary spaces within the data. you see that in here, I have my name written, but I have spaces after the names, I have spaces before the name, unnecessary spaces. If I want to remove unnecessary spaces as such, I will press equals, write trim, and then select the text, close the bracket, hit enter. This will trim the spaces before and after the text. I'll do this again. Trim, and then select the text. Now it will remove spaces before, remove spaces after the text, and hit enter. This will remove before and after. Same thing, if I click and drag down, you see what will happen? If I click and drag down, all the text will follow. You see, first remove, last removed, only the mid portions are remaining. Now this is about trim. Now let's come to proper. Now, where will you be using proper function? Proper function, it's used to convert any text into proper format. Proper formatting means what? Proper formatting means that if I write any number or any name in here, numbers must be written in this specific fashion. If I write names in here, however, names are strings are not like numbers. I cannot write this. I have to write in a proper sentence case. What is proper sentence case? First capital, rest all small. So how do I do this is in here. I go to this, press equals, and then write proper. And then I will select the text and I will hit enter. Now this is also proper sentence case, doesn't change, keep it same. This also keeps it same. This one, it makes it as capital. First capital, rest all small. So automatically first capital, rest all small it will make. But we still have some spaces in between. So how do we remove spaces? So we can give within proper, we can give trim like this. So you can use proper and then trim inside proper to remove space and make it proper sentence case. Like so. So with this, you can create proper with trim. So you can remove spaces plus make it as the proper sentence case. Same thing as upper. Let's say that you have the data, but you don't want to make it, you don't have to rewrite this again in capital letters. So what you do is you press equals, you write upper, and then you select the text. This is the text, close the bracket, hit enter, and this will give you the upper. Same thing with lower. Lower also does the exact same thing. Lower, select the text, close the bracket, hit enter. This will make it an lower sentence case. Then we have len. Len, it's actually used as, it's mostly used as an add-on, but not as a formula by itself. So to work this out, you press equals and then you type in len. Once you write len, you select the number of characters, or you just select the text. This is the text which I've selected. Now close the bracket. Yeah. Now it will show me the length of the text. How many characters do I have within the text? I have 4 characters in this. In this, I have 16 characters. In this, I have 4. In this, 6, 4, 7, 7. And it's live, which means if this changes, so let's say I'm changing this, everything else changes. So you see that I'm writing this as space, and then last bit I'm changing it. So it's going to change everywhere. So now 11 total characters, total number of 11 characters are there. Cool. So now we will be understanding how we will be using len as an add-on to sort our names in their first name, last name, and mid name. Okay. So first, last, and mid. If we want to do it, then how can we do it? Let's see. Before we do that, we first understand the reason why we are doing this. So you see that if I'm selecting the names as such, and if I'm going to put them in first name, last name, whatever the names are, I have to select the names, go to data, select text to columns. You remember this, and from here we will be selecting delimited. I will select space because there is a space in between, and destination, we're going to keep it under our first name, first column, and finish it off, right? So this is something which we did. But the problem with this is that we won't be able to make it live. Live means, you see, first name is Mateen. I'm going to change this to Salam, but it will stay same everywhere. It doesn't change. I want this to change when I'm changing the main data. So whenever the core data is changing, I want the first and last name also to change. So for this, we will be learning few more functions. So to make this automatic, we will be learning a little more functions. Let's learn about them. First, we have find. Find function is used to know where that specific character exists in the string. Let's say in this case, where is capital M in this string? If I want to find out, I will calculate. S first, A second, L is third, 4, 5, 6, and then 7th is the capital M, right? 6th is the space, and then 7th is the capital M. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, 8th character is the capital M, 7th is the space. So 8th character I want. So how do I do this? Is this? I'll say find what? Capital M within this specific text and close the bracket. Shows me 8th character is my capital M. Same thing if I do for small m, it will show me 6th character for small m. If I show this for A, however, it will bring me the first A which is being there. First A, second. It won't show me 3 like that. It will only bring me the first character it will show me. Now in this case, I want this to be automated. So for automated function, this is how you do it. We will tell system, we will first see left. I want the left 4 characters, okay? So I want left characters. By using left function, we can use this. Left, comma 4. It will bring me left 4 characters. I want how many characters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters I want. So what I will do, I will just say left 6, which means bring left side 6 characters. You learned this in your conditional formatting. Remember? Sorry, in your advanced fill with formatting. Right? In this, you learned left 4 digits, right 4 digits, right 4, right? Correct. So now in this case, same thing we are doing. Same thing we are doing. We are using left function, and we are telling that from left side, we are bringing in first 6 characters, right? But this is 6, okay, it works fine. If I bring down 6 characters, works fine, very good. But now Josh, it doesn't work because here Josh is only 4 characters. It's not 6. Again, if I bring Sarah, 4 characters. For Humayun, okay, maybe 6 characters for Humayun. I don't know why I'm writing 6 characters. So now you can see that. So if I'm writing any 6 characters name or 4 characters name, it's bringing me unnecessary values. I want this to check wherever the space is there, and from there, it should start calculating the values. So it should be automated. Automated means what? Automated means it should take the value by itself, finding space. So how can we do this? Let's see. First, let's check where is this space. This space is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th character space is there. So if I write equals, find, it should give me the character place of the space. So find space by writing quotation, space, quotation. I should not write just space. I should write quotation, space, quotation, because I have to write in quotation to explain that I need space. So quotation, space, quotation, comma, within which text? I need to find space within this text. And then close the bracket, hit enter. 5th position is my space. You remember the left formula which we had. I will select left. From this character, find out how many characters? Find out the characters which is there before space. Okay, so I'm writing left of this, and then I'm not writing the number. I'm just writing this formula as it is. And then close the bracket and enter. Now, if I bring this down, automatically first names are bringing in. I'll show you this again. Let's do this again from scratch. First, I want to find automatically, I want to find wherever the space is there. So what we do, we press equals. I will say find. Find what? Find space, quotation, space, quotation. Find space within what? I want to find space within this text, and then close the bracket. This is 5th character. Now, if I keep on bringing this down, 5th, 7th, 8th, so all these spaces are there. Now, I will tell this that this is the number which I'm getting. Okay, let's keep this. Translate it to 6. Okay, translate it to 6. I will say left function. Left of this, how many characters? Wherever space is there, bring me characters. 6 characters. Now this is bringing me this value, right? But 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth characters. So fifth character is the space. So I will write fifth in here. So this I want, automatically numbers should come. So instead of this, I will say find. Find what? Find space. Within what? Within this specific text. And then close the bracket. Now, if I bring this down, it will give me the exact same answers. Right. Now we want the last name. We want the last name in here. So how can we bring in the last name? You first understand the logic. In this, I have some text written. M, A, T, T, and then there is a space. M means 1, A means 2, T means 3, again T means 3, fourth is the space, correct? In these situations, first character, second character, third character, fourth character, and then we have space. And after that, I have the MARKEL, whatever the text is. Okay, so after 4, then in here I have fifth character, sixth character, seventh character, eighth character, 9, and then 10. Okay, so in this, so now you can see it better, right? So in these conditions, I'll just do the shapes in here so you can understand this better. The reason I'm showing you this is because it gets really complicated now. You might get confused. So that's the reason I'm showing you this in this way. Okay, so now you got to know like what specific text is what. In this, you see that I want to find the last name. Okay, I want to get the last name in here. Equals. For last name, I need to use the right formula. So right will bring me the right 4 digits or right 6 digits, however you want. So how can I translate the end? How can I translate the end value? I can translate this by saying from the complete value, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 characters from the complete value. Okay, so from the 10 characters, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, right? Oh, did the counting wrong. Damn. Okay, so 4, 5, let me do it very quick, 6, 7. Okay. So in these conditions, in these 11 characters, wherever space is there, space is what? Fifth character, right? Fifth character is the space. So wherever space is there, take that space and minus it with the entire length will give me the last values. If I take 5 characters out from the 11 characters, you see this portion goes away, right? So this mat goes away. Only this last remains. That means wherever space is there, find that number and minus that number with the complete length. 5 minus 11 is how much? 5 minus 11, 6.
6.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. Understood? Same thing, let's go for this one. Now, if we go with this, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7th is the space. 7 minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 minus 7, 4. 1, 2, 3, sorry, 5 it will be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 characters will be selected last. So we want this to happen. So for that, we will press equals. We'll select right. Now, what do you want from this specific characters? Choose the complete length of the same, minus it with the space, number of space. Find space within the same text. That's it. And then close the bracket. Now, if you drag this down, do you understand? So this is an example of how you will be using the last names as such. If you don't get this, please do let me know. I will explain you this again. Okay. So now you see that in this case, we want last name to be selected. So for last name to be selected, what can we do? In this characters, we have MATT, 4 characters, and then we have the space fifth, and then we have rest of the characters. Total 11 characters are there. Under this, I want to select the last name only, Markel. Only the last name I want to select. So for this, what to do? So for this, I can simply do this one simple thing I can do. I can tell system to take this 11 characters, complete 11 characters you take. Wherever space is there, you minus anything which is before that space. Before space, whatever is there, you minus it. So how can I tell this? I can tell that complete length. How can I find out? I can find out the complete length by using len. Correct? I can find out the complete length of the characters by using len. So I'm going to select len. This is the complete length of the character. 11 characters I have total. Now I will say wherever space is there, minus it. I will put minus symbol. Wherever space is there. So how can I put space? So how can I put the, how can I find the space is by writing find formula. We are using find formula and we are saying wherever space is there from the same text. Yeah, show me the value, that's all. So find from the same text. So total number of characters. Total number of characters minus find of the same text. This is what we are doing in order to get this. So now let's do this again. Find, write. I'm using write of this. How many characters you want to bring in? I want so many characters minus before the space, whatever characters are there. That means complete this cell minus whatever the characters are there before space. So how do we do it? Is by writing first length. What is the length of the complete cell? By writing the select cell. This will bring me the complete length of the cell. Let's translate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's going to bring me 11 in here. It's going to translate this as 11 minus what is the text in the space? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth is the text. And then when I close the bracket, hit enter, it's going to bring me this. So it's translating 11 minus 5. So what is 11 in here? Length of the character. So I'm selecting length of the character. This is the 11 minus. I want the position of the space. Position of the space, I will write by writing find. Find space within this text. That's it. And then close the bracket. This will give me the right footage, the right values. And when I drag down, this is how we'll get our answers. Understood, everyone? Okay. So that is how you will be calculating or the last values you will be getting it. So that's about this. Now let's say concatenate. Concatenate means to merge text together. So how can we merge text together? For merging text together, you'll be pressing equals, and now I'll be selecting the first name. I want to merge it with the last name. So I'll select the first one, and then I will put comma, space, quotation, space. That means I'm putting a space bar in between, and then comma again, and then I'll be selecting the next one. So I want this to be connected. So I will use concat formula. Just use concat, C-O-N-C-A-T. That's it. Close the bracket, hit enter. This will give you the first name and last name divided with space. Okay. Now, if I just click and drag down, all them are with space, but there are not one but two spaces. Why? Because here in the answer, we are selecting the find value space. It's bringing me one extra space with this. So if you want to remove it, just add -1 in here, and this will remove that space. Okay, so that means that this was find space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it was giving 5. So it's going to bring me the name with space. So it was not Matt. It was the final answer was Matt and then a space. It was not visible because here we did not, check the formula. That's the reason. Okay, so you have to be careful with these kind of things. So that's how you can use the concat formula and stuff like that. Okay, so that's about the functions. You can do the same thing by using substitute, replace, and these functions, which we'll be later discussing in your VLOOKUP. Okay, now let's come to the date functions in here. So before we can start date functions, we're going to take a 2 minutes of short break, everyone, and then we'll be back because I think it's too much of brainstorming at once. So let's take a 2 minutes of short break and then we'll be back. Okay, everyone, so let's proceed now. So coming to date functions in here, we're going to discuss about date functions and yeah. So we'll be finishing off our date functions in today's class anyhow. So you see that date functions are usually used for those situations where you have to calculate with regard to dates. For example, if I want to calculate anything from today's date perspective, instead of finding out what's the date today and then going ahead and writing the formulas, I can simply write equals today, and this will show me the function for today. The same thing, if I want to add days, let's say that my project is for 600 days. My company comes and tells me, please find out what's the deadline of today, what's the deadline of our project date. So what I can do is I can say today, and then I can add plus 600 to the date, and then it will show me that after 600 days, it will be, what is that? September, oh no, it's November 6th, 2024. Now you see that as I'm writing the dates, it gets a little confusing because we don't know first, is it month or is it date? Correct? It becomes difficult for us. So if I write this function in here, let's say 2 to 23, we know for sure that it's 2nd February. But if we write 22 to 23, we don't know whether it's a date or it's a text. You see that it's still text. It's not converted to a date. That's because it doesn't recognize this. It will have to make it in this way. So it should be 2 and then 22, and then it will be, oh, that's how it's taking in as a month. So this will create lots of confusion in here. So because to remove such confusion, what you can do is you can create a date format. How to create a date format is first to select the complete column and then click on the home section, which you see in here, or you can right click here and select format cells. Anything is fine. So you can select format cells, or you can go to home, click on the general option and select more number formats. Anything it's fine. You can select anything in here. And once you have selected it, you will get all these options. From these options, you will be going ahead and selecting the date function. Under your date, you have lots of formats you can go with. So you have this date format, you have this date format, you have this date format, different date formats you have. If you want to give your own custom format, then you can do it by writing these formulas in your custom tab. D represents days, M represents months, Y represents years. You know this, correct? Let's say that I want date in numbers. Then I have to write 2 times D. This will show me date in double-digit numbers. If I write D 3 times, it will show me date in short text, such as MON or PUE or WED. If I write 4 Ds in here, it will show me date in long text, which means Monday like that, or Tuesday like that. So it's going to give you complete list itself. Same thing goes for month. If you write one single M, it will show you single digit month. 2 M's, it will give you double digit. 3 M's, it will give you short text. 4 M's will give you long text, and so let's see this in action. First, I will write equals today. This is my function for today. Within my today function, now I will go ahead and type in some values. You see now, go to format, more number formats. I will go to custom. Under custom, you see MDY is given. First is month, then is date, and then is year. So now what we will do is we're going to change this to first 2 days / 2M's. Let's say you want it to be like day dash March, April, like that. Then you can write this as DD space and then 3 times M. You can see that 17 MAR. If you want this complete March, write one more M, 4th. And then 2Y give 23. 3Y's you give 2023. 3 and 4 doesn't matter. So only one Y also you give, it will give you 2 digits. 3 values if you give, it will give you 4 digits only. So in only 2, here it's only 2, either 1 or 3. 1 or 3 or 2 or 4, anything you can give. 2 or you can give 4, anything, it's fine. So that's about this. So this is, you can create a custom date format by using this specific function. All right. So this is about using your date functions. Now within the date functions, we have one more function. We call this as time function. Now I don't want date. I want date plus time also. So I can use now function to bring me date and time. But this time is bringing me in 24-hour clock. But I want this into in the meridians function, anti-meridian and post-meridian. So for anti-meridian and post-meridian functions, what we do is we're going to use the function such as AM bar PM. For this also, we have the format. What is this format? It's in like this. First we have month, then we have days, and then we have years, and then we have hours, and then minutes. If it's only like this, this is the format. If I want to change this, I only need to add AM/PM in the end. If I add AM/PM in the end, then automatically this will change. How? Let's see. So I'm going to go to my number format, click on custom, and change this to days / 3 months, and then 4 Ys. And oh, sorry, it's actually one. I've written something. Okay, never mind, leave it. So then we have AM/PM, and then you press OK. So now it will be changing to AM bar PM. Oh, I did not give the hours and minutes. So let me do that in here. So here I will put hours by writing HH before AM bar PM. So write HH for hours, and then MM for minutes, and then AM bar PM to do this. All right, that's it. And once it's done, this is how it's going to look like. So that's done. This is how you will be creating a function for yourself, and that's about this. Simple and easy. So that's about using your date functions. Now let's come to the advanced date functions. In here, I have few listings. I have few listings in which the starting of the project is exactly today. So I will write today function. So my project is starting today, and it's going to run for about 700 days. Let's say it's going to run for about 700 days. So I'll say today it's going to run for about 700 days. So most of the building projects, whichever we take, let's say Burj Khalifa, to make Burj Khalifa, it took 14 years something. So, so like that, we'll take that as an example. 700 days we want. So the project date end will be February 14th. So Valentine's Day we will be finishing off. So at that day, we will be having the start date and end date. That's it. So once it's done, now the next thing we should be doing is we're going to find out, now these are the days I have to 700 days to finish off the project. How many working days will I be having, except Saturdays and Sundays, right? Or maybe Fridays and Saturdays, like this. So I want to find out how many working days will I be having to finish my project. So to do this, we will be using formula called as net work days. In this, what it does is that it will take the values from this day to this date. Within these days, wherever the calendar, in the calendar, if Saturdays and Sundays are there, it will not count that as the day. It will rather count that as a holiday. And then it will bring you the rest of the value inside. So how do you do this? You see, net work days. Now it's asking you the start date. This is the start date, comma, end date is the project end. After that, I will close the bracket, hit enter. It will show me that within these 700 days, I have 501 days to work, except that Saturdays and Sundays are holidays. But I have few more holidays in this list. I have some holidays in this list. Let me change this to 2023. And you can see that this day is a Saturday. These two are Tuesdays and Thursdays. That means this holiday, if it's relying or if it's lying on Saturdays or Sundays, it should not count extra. It should be within that only. So these intricate complications, calculations should be done by Excel. So for that reason only, we are using this formula. So now what I will do is network with holidays. So now for that, we'll use network days and select start date, comma, end date. After that, there is one more section called as holidays in here. We can press comma and we can select the list of holidays. And now when I close the bracket, it will show me that at this point, one extra day or 2 days I'm getting. These 2 days I'm getting holidays because this day I don't have any holiday because this is Saturday only, Saturday itself. But what if I'm working in GCC? In GCC, we don't have Saturdays, Sundays, we have Fridays and Saturdays. So what to do? In this case, we will press equals. Now we'll do our network days, but this time we're going to use another formula. We have network days INTL, network days international. In here, you can select the days. And you see, what is the start date? Start date is this, comma. What is end date? End date is this. What is your weekend? Your weekend is Saturday, Sunday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or what? So now here you will be selecting Friday and Saturday is my, and then list of holidays. This is my list of holidays, and then close the bracket and enter. In GCC, I have to work 1 day less. If I'm in GCC, I'm in advantage. Okay, so that's about this. Now you see, in these situations, what if my holiday is customized? Friday and Tuesday is my holiday. But in this list, I don't have Friday and Tuesday, do I? I don't have Fridays and Tuesdays. So what to do? You can write this. Start the week from Sunday. Sunday, I have office. Monday, I have office. Tuesday, no office. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Maybe Friday, I have no office. So Sunday, Monday, office. Tuesday, no. Thursday, office. Friday, no. And now you have to press Control Shift Enter because it won't work without this. I think this is giving me a number error. Give me a second. Why is this not working? Let me check this. For weekend, we are using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it doesn't work. Give me a second. There you go. So 7 days working completely, net working days international from this date to this date. Perfect. So now it works. So now let's say 0 is the working day, 1 is the non-working day actually. So 0 is the working day. Let's say Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday is my non-working day. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday again. This is my non-working day. So 501 days I will be having if I'm having these two as holidays. But let's say that if I'm having this on 3 days, I'm having holidays. 400 days only I have to work. Weekly 3 days holidays if I'm having. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday, if 3 days I'm having holidays. So you can give this list as this also. 0 being office is existing, 1 means that we have holiday. Okay. So that's something which you can also do. So that's about advanced date functions. Now coming to the ultra advanced date functions, our final topic for today's class. So you see that what we have is that I have someone's date of birth. Someone who was born in 1984, I need to find out what's their total number of years, months, and days for this specific date and time. Also, let's say we want to find out what's the project since when. So let's say that today is this date. Let's say that my project, or let's talk about the independence of Qatar. Qatar got independent in 1974. 1870. My brain is not working. 1878, not 1870. I was writing 1878. Okay, 1878. 1974 means it would be like very near, right? But 18 doesn't work because 18 does not take sin. Okay, never mind. Let's not take Qatar's this one. Let's take 1928. Okay. So 1928. So let's say someone who has born in 1928, what would be their age at this point? Okay. So for this reason, we will be using this specific function. Now you see that I need to calculate two things. I need to calculate total number of days. I need to calculate total number of months and also years. So for year, how do we calculate? It's fairly simple. We press equals and there is no formula for it. We should write our own. So the formula is DATE and then DIF, date diff. Date diff, that means date difference. Date difference, and then open the bracket. Now it's going to ask you, okay, where do you want to go ahead? Now we'll say date difference, start date. Where is the start date? Today is my start date. No, actually start date should be smaller one. The start date should always be smaller one. So it should be since then. Since this date to end date is today. Always start date should be the smaller value. Okay, remember this. So start date is smaller value, bigger date is our final value. And after that, I want total number of years. So I will write quotation Y. If I put quotation in Y, it will show me total number of years. 95 years. I want total number of months. So I will write date diff again, open the bracket. Now I will say start date is smaller date, which is this, bigger date is this, and then total number of months. I will write capital M. This will give me total number from months. That means from this point to today, how many months? 1141 months total. From that day, how many days total? So we'll say date diff, open the bracket, start date, comma, end date, and then I will say total number of days. So I will write capital D. 34,743 days. Now we want to find out what is the total number of years, except years, how many months, except months, how many days. Precise. That means these many years, these many months, and these many days. For example, if someone is asking you how many years you are, then you should say, I'm 27 years, 6 months, 2 days old, like that. Precise, very precise. So how can you do this is this, date diff, again, date diff, open the bracket, start date, comma, end date. Now in here for years, there's no change. For years, it's exactly the same. But for months, it's slightly changed. You see, date diff, start date, comma, end date. Instead of writing just M, we should write YM. That means leave year and show me months. Except 95 years, how many months? 1 month. Except years and except months, how many days? So date diff again. So here I will write start date, comma, end date. In this case, I will write leave year, leave month, and then show me date. So I should write YMD like that. But YMD, 3 values will not be considered. So only 2 values you should write. For last 2 values you should write. And then close the bracket here. So person who was born in, let's say, February or May something, they are exactly 94, 10 months and 16 days old, or total number of days, total number of months, total number of years. This is everything with regard to your Excel for today's class. So we have concluded your date functions and your text functions. Now in our coming class, we shall be discussing about advanced auditing functions and your VLOOKUP. All right. So in advanced auditing functions, there will be brainstormers. So many brainstormers are there. I will show you those things, which will help you understand things in a much better way. We will also be sharing you few files such as wildcards, dashboards, index match, some dates. So we're going to give you these files also, which will help you understand them better. Okay, everyone. So that's everything for today's class. And I hope you have enjoyed it. We shall see you all in our next one. So I'm going to stop recording. Thank you so much.